Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's nice to see you. Today we are just under the last 60 days of 2024, which is absolutely crazy. I feel like once we hit September, the year just took off and kind of left me behind. And I got to thinking, because of that feeling, I wanted to set aside some time to intentionally walk through all the goals that I set for myself this year, reevaluate them, and maybe help make some decisions to take me over the finish line, feeling like it was a successful year. So, without further ado, let's just hop right in. I have my trusty notebook here, and I did not document my goals in this notebook at the beginning of the year. I actually used my personal journal for that, which I have here just outside of the frame for reference. So let's go ahead and flip to the next empty page so that we can jot down the goals that I had set for myself at the beginning of the year. Okay, so the first one I had was write a short story every quarter this year. The second one is read 25 books. Goal number 3 that I had was to start a YouTube channel. Fourth goal was to create a better way to study tarot that works for you. Goal number 5 was to obtain a unicorn deck in my collection. Number 6, so journal tarot with the journal on a daily basis. 7 is use more decks. And I define this as finding a system that works for me. And the last goal was to catalog and organize. Okay, so 8 is catalog and organize my deck collection, find purpose for each of my decks, and what are the steps I want to take for a deck that may not have a clear purpose. Okay, so now that we have them all written down, let's get the easy part out of the way and cross off the ones that I have already accomplished. So number 3, start a YouTube channel. I did this in August. Yay, that's exciting. Create a better way to study tarot that works for me. And I did this with the help of my tarot study journal. If you want to see exactly what is inside of this gem, I have a full video going through all of that. I will link it in the cards above. So we can cross that one off. And I did that in October. And let's see, obtain a unicorn deck. All right, so not only did I obtain 1 unicorn deck, but I obtained 2. So I found a copy of the Desert Illuminations Tarot by Lindsay D. Williams. I'll just quickly take out some of the cards. It's a Southwestern theme. It has a lot of culture as far as Mesoamerica, Latin America, that Southwest vibe of the United States. And it's always been one that has been on my radar. And now I finally have it. And let's see, I got this one in August, I think, end of July, August. And then the Majestic Earth recently came in to my collection, and I am very honored, very, very honored. I wasn't expecting to actually obtain a unicorn deck this year, let alone two. So I'm very blessed. I feel very thankful in that way. So, and this one came into my collection, I think in September. So we'll write August and September. The next goal that I have met is number 7, use more decks and finding a system that works for you. Cross this off. And this happened in September, where I officially moved all of my stuff that was in different places, and I utilized Monday.com, which is a project management system, and Monday.com is a project management system, and that's the one I decided to choose after doing a trial of a bunch of different ones. It has a free forever version, so that's the one I currently have and I'm using, and it just matches my brain and how it works and functions really well. I did do a little bit of an overview on how I have it set up, just a little bit, and it's coming up in a video in a couple of days, so be sure to check that one out too, because you can see how I've set it up. So along with that, I just wanted to note that finding a system that works for me, the reason I wanted that to be a goal is because I am a mood reader across the board, across my whole life, with food, with books, with tarot, pretty much anything, music. And what happens is I either miss out on a bunch of my decks because of that. I might gravitate toward certain decks and never touch any of my decks in a given year. And I didn't really like that. My collection is growing, so at a certain point I won't be able to necessarily maybe do that, but I haven't reached that point yet, and I won't for a while. However, I just wanted a way to be a little bit more structured that still gave some flexibility. And so the system that I came up with works for me because I can use a deck that's calling to me for any given reason. And so in that way, I have that choice, right? That's where the flexibility comes in. But I've also determined that I need to at least touch 3 to 5 different decks in any given month for any reason. So that helps branch me out a little bit from just using the same deck in a month or the same 2 decks, because there are ones that I gravitate to all the time. Okay. And then the final goal that I met was to catalog and organize the deck. And that again is a September thing. And again, I used Monday.com to help me with that. And that's where I itemize my collection. And it also, the second part of this goal was to find and assign a purpose for each deck. So whether that's a theme, basing it off a theme, a different category, maybe like these are all my animal decks, these are all my elemental decks, these are my unicorn decks, and then even further splitting it down by these are the ones that I've noticed that I work with for shadow work. These are the ones that I notice I work with in spring. Just giving it a little bit of an assignment, if you will, to help categorize it a little better so I can zoom out and see as a whole maybe what my collection is lacking, what it is oversaturated with, and being a little bit more purposeful on what I'm bringing in so that there's not too much crossover between some decks. So for example, I noticed that my animal theme or animal decks, I have more of those than other decks. So maybe the next time an animal deck comes out or I come across one, I might think a little bit more before hitting purchase, because I want to make use of what I have currently. And then for decks that don't have a purpose or I couldn't really assign one for, coming up with a system on what to do with those. So, and this is the system that I've come up with. Um, the first step is to physically change the order and appearance of how the deck is stored. I use a book shelving system, so that's moving it up maybe towards the top, closer to eye level for me, so that I can physically seeing it a lot more than maybe I would otherwise with it on a different shelf. And then the second step is if I do use them, and in that since that move, moving them on my shelf, documenting what I use them for, noting that down, and then having that cataloged, and then the deck is safe. However, if the deck is moved and three-ish months have gone by without me picking the deck up and actually using it, because I pick up my decks all the time, I flip through them, I look through them, and then I'll set them down. Don't necessarily use them in a reading, so I have to use them in a reading. But if 3 months goes by and I haven't done that, I will place it in a purgatory for the same amount of time, 3 months. And at the end of that 3 months, if I didn't at least think about the deck or pull the deck out to use it, then I move it into a declutter pile. And the declutter pile sits again for another 3 months, where I have one final chance to ultimately decide if it stays or goes. And the hard part is I lead with my emotions, and I'm attached to things sometimes in some ways. So I might have a deck that I really, really, really love, but I just don't use a lot. And I'm trying to make that a very special case. I don't want it to be the case for a lot of my decks. I kind of want to keep that very minimal, that category very, very minimal. So I have to take that into consideration. So at most, if a deck does not have a purpose, it gets basically 9 months to find one. And I thought that that is what I'm going to try out, and I've deemed it so. And yes, so now let's talk about the goals that I have not accomplished yet and talk through them and maybe reevaluate. So the first one here is to write a short story every quarter. And I started following through on this one. But it was short-lived. I made it through the first quarter and it has fallen off since. So I think this one is an easy one to let go of, because it is a goal I had, but it is very time dependent, obviously, and there's just no way I can make up for that. So I think we are safe to cross that one off and just let it go, and we'll try again another year. Okay, so the second one is to read 25 books. And as of the day I'm filming this, I have read 16 books thus far this year. So just kind of thinking through this with you, so to make my goal of 25, I have to read 9 more books this year. And there's only 60 days, just under 60 days, so just about 2 months, let's say. So splitting that down even further, 9 is not divisible by 2, so that would mean I would need to read 4 books in 1 month and 5 books in another. And what makes that really tough, I think normally I would definitely be able to do that, but what makes it really tough is that the holidays are coming up. And I don't know about you guys, but I am more distracted. And so it might be really tough to do, especially because my desire to read waivers, it goes up and down. I don't read the same amount of books every month, but I really want to. My gut is saying that I can do it, and I want to do it, of course. That's why it's a goal. Maybe if I lean on audiobooks a little bit more, I could manage to accomplish this goal. Like, it's a super, super busy, busy time. Because of that, in my free time, I really don't want to sit down and read. That's just what I've noticed throughout my life. But if I can lean on some audiobooks and I can listen to them while I'm doing things and still being productive in other ways, I think I can make this happen. So we're going to leave this here. Number 6, journal with the tarot daily. This has not gone well at all, but with the addition of my tarot study journal here, I am cataloging more on a daily basis whenever I do a reading. And I do think that daily was too ambitious of a goal. I think that weekly tarot journaling is more attainable, but But I'm already doing that already without, like, that doesn't need to be a goal because that's already the standard. I'm on a weekly basis, at least once a week, I am journaling. So maybe we can meet in the middle between daily and weekly so that it's still a challenge. So I'm at least doing this once a week. But I mean, realistically, I'm doing this more than once a week. But okay, I have an idea. What if I change this to this goal here to be 3 times a week tarot journaling? I think that's more feasible and it still challenges me, which is why I'm setting these goals in the first place. However, I think that I should not allow myself to lean on this as a crutch because it's naturally happening. So I think that we should exclude that at least one of the other journaling session has to be in another notebook, whether that's my tarot spread notebook that I have, whether it's in my spirituality notebook, or even my personal notebook. If there's some other way that I can journal about the tarot or a reading or what have you, a thought maybe, I think that outside of this, I think that would still pose a pretty good challenge. So let me write in with the space here if I can. So we're not doing daily. So I'll just go boop. Not doing daily. And it goes to weekly 3 times a week and 1 okay. So I'm not doing daily anymore. I'm going to be doing weekly journaling sessions surrounding the tarot 3 times a week. And one of those sessions must be done outside of my tarot study journal. Okay. Okay, I like that a lot. Okay, so just to recap here, we are removing the short story goal altogether because it's just not the right time in my life to do this. But I can reconsider another time or modify it for another year or what have you. We are going to keep the goal of reading 25 books. We'll see if I can do it. And we are going to keep the goal of daily journaling, but we're going to change it to 3 times a week, weekly journaling, and adding in a caveat that one of those weekly journal sessions has to be outside of my tarot study journal. So either in my spread journal or in my journal where I keep track of prompts or my personal journal. It doesn't matter where, it just has to be outside of the tarot study journal to keep a bit of a challenge. I really found this exercise helpful, and I do feel more aligned with what I have to do with the remainder of the year. I just have these 2 goals to focus on now, so I think paring that down really, it does help because we only have less than 60 days left. So I feel hopeful that I will be able to accomplish these goals. And I'm going to provide an update in a later video where I talk about 2024 and my intentions for the next year. So we'll see how I did there. So stay tuned for an update in that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time with me. How are you doing with your 2024 goals? Are there any that you could let go of? I know it's hard because we want to do them all, but reevaluating them at the end, I think I'm going to feel like I was more successful than if I had a goal on here that I wouldn't have been able to do, and it'd just be lingering there looking at me, intimidating me, laughing at me. But how are you doing with your goals for 2024? Do you think you'll reconsider some of the goals after watching this video? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. I always have a buy me a coffee link in the description of all my videos. It really helps me out as I continue to grow my channel, and everything that's donated there will go back right here to this YouTube channel, Simply Han, and be put back here because I love what I do. I love filming and talking about tarot decks and practices and goals and all those fun things. So Anything will definitely help, and you will see it right here in this channel. And until next time, see you around.